Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, well. You're welcome to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And this is where we say it as it is, 7 a.m. every weekday. And of course, complement of the season, the year. This is, last days of the Advent week. And of course, it leads to the Christmas, which is just in 3 days. So, Merry Christmas in advance. I dare say that. And Femi Ojo is my name. Today is going to be very, very, very interesting as usual. Looking through the headlines from our major dailies and, of course, having conversation, dialogue that has to do with the public good. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi. Good morning, people of our show. Good morning, world. It is the Yuletide. It is upon us, fast upon us, and then I'm wishing you Merry Christmas in advance, and then wishing you all of the good things that the world, and the season has to offer. My name is Timito Payajijololuwala. Saying good morning to you on the show, Morning Spring and Western Spring Television. Thanks for joining us on the first installment for the week.
Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, just like I said, it's the Yuletide. The binds are increasing. People are moving. There is movement of people across, point A to point B to C, C back to D and A, and all of those things. I, had some trips over the weekend, and I could see, the buses, the vehicles loading up, and people, new faces coming into town, across places, even in the places of worship. Yesterday, I was in church, and I could see many new faces, who possibly already in. For those, with the Dirty December thing, it has started. It's at its peak right now, and people are having a good time. Whatever that means to anybody, it's just enjoy. To the best of your pocket.
Yes, actually,
and, this is not the time to. If you can blay, if you can cho, if you cannot, just find a way of making yourself happy.
Yeah,
whatever works for you. And
I was having a conversation yesterday, and the person I was speaking with was like, Christmas to some people is as low as 8,000 naira. Yes, I mean, some people, when they find as low as 8,000 naira, their Christmas is done. And for so many others, it's way, above that and all too. Like you said, it's to the best of your pockets. Yeah.
And of course, good news, we learned the rest of the children that were abducted weeks ago. They have been retrieved, they are back, and we now have them all right. And it's a relief, actually. Maybe a little too late, but then as much as they're still alive, we can say it is too late, but then maybe we can do better than that. But we must say it, they are back. Last week, the week before that, we talked about it here, that where our children, and now they are back. We hope affliction will not arise the second time, on this matter, or for the uptake time, if I may use that particular word. The students and pupils of St. Mary Catholic institution, that means with the previous 100 that were abducted, they have now been, as the police or the military hierarchy will say, rescued. That's call it.
Right.
It's good that they are back.
Yeah. I think it's a good development from what we talked about last week, at least up until the NLC protest, where we were saying that Shiwore was saying that it seems everyone or the government has moved on. Everyone has moved on from that topic to something else. And we're happy that, yes, on the ground, maybe we were not seeing, all of the work being put in behind, the scene, so to speak. And so we are glad that the children are back and, we'll all have, been reunited with their families.
Right. And we hope
that follow-ups will be done, so that we can assess, the mental state and the physical state, of the children.
Of the children, of course, prevent
further
occurrence of such evil. Until now, who ordered the withdrawal of the troops at Kebbi State? Government Secondary School, Kebbi State. Till now, that was almost a month. And what we've been hearing is debriefing, grilling, defense headquarters, interrogation, and all of those things. Till now. And so how do you now assess public accountability, public trust? How do you expect people to say we trust our government? Because it's more, when somebody comes up now, possibly much bigger voice, possibly politically inclined, and say, you guys are corrupt. You guys are covering corruption in Nigeria. You are not fighting, you are not sincere with insecurity, and you are covering, terrible things and sweeping it under the carpet. Then the government all of a sudden wake up and try throwing shit and say, oh, under your government, under that government, you did this and this. But you are leaving people with no choice than to say and to infer that you are covering, or you are shading, or you are aiding and abetting insecurity. Because how do you mean such a high-profile situation will happen, withdrawal of the truth, that ended up, killing some, or having children abducted, into the den of these irrational people, and almost a month after, no single information about who made the withdrawal.
Yeah, I think it's an easy thing. It's an easy thing on our part, especially in this part of the world. I'm talking about Nigeria as a country, to fall into, irresponsibility and the ease of laxity. It's an easy thing on this, on our part here. But then the people must do their own job of holding their leaders accountable. I think we should be holding the Minister of Defense, accountable in this case. He said it expressly that was one thing, it was going to do soon enough, into his office. I think this is a time when Nigerians begin to ask him and call him to question. You promised us this, especially on the floor of the Senate. This is the time where you tell us, well, this is when you begin to let us see, the result of that thing that you said you were going to do. So this is that time where you begin to ask questions as citizens of the country.
And just like we are doing right now, and let's call it what it is, and we are calling him by name, the new Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa retired. You promised the Nigerian people we are going to look into the matter. More than 2 weeks now that he has been screened and sworn in, nothing has happened. General Christopher Musa,
what is happening?
The withdrawal of the troop at government, secondary school in Maga in Kebbi State. You are yet to answer. You owe us, the Nigerian people, the Nigerian media, the Nigerian state, that explanation. The NSA, the defense headquarters, all of you should be responsible. Before we hit the breaks, it was fun at in Oyo at the weekend, where Sheyi Tinubu bagged the title, chieftaincy title of Okolomo of Yoruba land. Of course, you saw his guys, his supporters, government people. Senate president was there. Some governors were there. Ministers were there as well, who followed him down. And the wife, Yeye Okolomo, of course, of Yoruba land, in Allah. And, 2 weeks before, the First Lady will back the chieftaincy title of a year to a Taye Sheo. So,
so it's reigning chieftaincy in the House of
2 weeks before. And some are already saying, oh, Sheyi or whatever he has, achieved for himself. Fair enough. Maybe that's okay. But then the issue is this. Some think the government and the first family, they are tone deaf to
the plight
of the people. The First Lady, chieftaincy title in Ile-Ife. 2 weeks ago, the first son, 2 weeks after, the first son, Okolomo of Yoruba land, which more like the child, a unique child of the source of Yoruba land, which in itself is not a problem, actually. But you see optics in Nigeria. More like when people are crying, when people are talking about hunger, insecurity on the land. Mama, they back chieftaincy title, Peking, they back chieftaincy title. So who is next in the ruling
And even
class?
in the midst of the the titling and all of that, we still have controversy, inside controversy.
Of course.
We're talking about her conduct while she was bagging, she was, being crowned her own,
With the, be quick, I will off your mic and give you some, that's the First Lady to the Osun State Governor now. And 2 weeks after, and there's another part of this, some are saying this is traditional and royal school rivalry between Ile-Ife and Oyo, between Oba Ogunwusi and Oba Owode. People will always put their conjectures together. But that aside, is giving this tone deaf optics to the people to say, these guys, they don't care. Everybody just want to marry and be happy.
You know, as much as I would agree with the people, you know, about, you know, things we do for optics and, you know, talking about our touch with humanity and reality. The truth is, these are the family, the first family, like you said. But then we're talking about the place of a father in all of this. I'm talking about the father first to his family and then to the nation. Talking about the president, people would have said that his family is not really part of the government per se. Like we would say that, yes, we have the office of the first lady, the people have, you know, snuck into, you know, the Nigerian administration, so to speak, which is not still recognized by the Nigerian constitution. So it is only so much that we can say as touching the first family as a family, an independent, you know, family, just like every other family in Nigeria. But then you would have expected that a person in that position of leadership has brought his family into the realization of things and the importance of what they have come to do to serve the people. So you would have expected that it transcends to his family, you know, later on. But as much as we want to say it and talk about optics, we're still talking about the fact that, well, we have business with only our elected member now, which is the president himself. And so whatever we say, we can just say it, you know, for saying that even as members, as citizens of Nigeria, this should be touching you. But if you have refused, because it's not everybody who is really, you know, getting the bite of the economic downturn and all of the insecurity issues that we are having, and they're showing it. But then we're talking about the president, you know, being, you know, yes, responsible. So we're still talking about the fact that all of this still comes to the responsibility of the president. Is the what that word even purports to him as an individual first and as an elected official of the Nigerian state?
Well, I think personally, that's why I said the chieftaincy title are not the issue.
Yes,
is the timing, is the optics, not what they do, is how the people see it.
The
that
perception.
This is fun fair. The people up there, you know, they are just
really just seem to be in another world.
Yeah, you know, like living in a bubble of their own. Take it or leave it up. But the moment you are elected into office, you and your family,
life,
you are up for public scrutiny.
Yeah,
you are being taken care of by the Nigerian state. Even if you don't have constitutional rules, everybody knows who is doing what in Nigeria. Forget the elected position. You will be taken care of. They have the security detail of the Nigerian state. Are they paying for that? All of them, there are privileges that comes with you being elected, especially the first family. So whatever you do is up for public scrutiny, including your health status. It's as, you know, it's as basic as that, even if they are not being voted for. If they are not being voted for, when they are flying the Nigerian Air Force One, do they go to take Chachangi? No.
Well, they are the first family.
That means people will always scrutinize them. You become a public property. In as much as the Nigerian state is responsible for you. But, you know, whatever works for you, but we must say it as it is. So take a quick break. When we return, the newspapers are in. And of course, it is now. All right, the newspaper segment is up next. The Punch newspaper is our first point of call. The Punch newspaper, the Punch is up for today. Right, we have these headlines. Military rolls out anti-attack measures for Christmas. Military rolls out anti-attack measures for Christmas. And Auditor General flags 288 billion naira and expending on that, under Yakubu rather. Auditor General flags 288 billion naira and expending under Yakubu. And PDP crisis, Turaki bloc seeks court order to unseal secretariat. Turaki bloc 6 court order to unseal Secretariat, and Akpabio takes Natasha suspension case to Supreme Court. Akpabio takes Natasha suspension case to Supreme Court. And of course, there is a picture there that has to do with the president and his first lady, President Bola Tinubu and Oluremi Todu, receiving Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Olori Eyo Chief Adebola Dosunmu, who led scores of members of the families to be honored with Eyo Festival to the president's Lagos home. Of course, the president has gone to Lagos, for the festivities and, of course, home visit. And there is a quote here attributed to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede. Christmas is not a moment. It is a movement towards kindness and common purpose. And lastly, top strip, Nigeria suffers nearly 1 trillion naira export loss after Trump tariff. With the rider, Nigeria sinks into a 3.15 trillion naira trade deficit with the U.S. as export forward. That will be all from the front page of the Punch for today.
Right, as much as we've been taking several headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, maybe can we go ahead with
right? Let's take the Nigerian Tribune. Yuletide, Defense Headquarters, police, others deploy more men in strategic locations. Yuletide, Defense Headquarters, police, others deploy more men in strategic police locations. With rider, army kills 21 terrorists, intercept logistics in Borno. Guys, that's the way. Neutralize them. The Nigerian people might forgive them, but then they will have a case with their maker. Send them to the other side. That's the way it works. And of course, you have the picture of the president, the Senate, with some visitors in Lagos. The president and his first lady, then the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, right there in Lagos with the Olori Eyo in Lagos State as well. Excuse me. And below that, 2026 budget, federal government 6% allocation for education, below UNESCO World Bank benchmark, 6%. It's supposed to be 15 actually. I think in 2025 budget, it was around 6 or 7 or 8%. Now, the proposal of Mr. President, by the way, you remember, Mr. President, read the budget proposal at the floor of the National Assembly, on Friday, and he let Nigeria know his financial and fiscal plan for the nation. Below that, Dangote Refinery launches nationwide PMS sale, 739 naira per liter, 739 naira per liter, nationwide sale. Right, and gridlock on major roads, travelers stranded for hours. With riders, lamentation on Lokoja, Abuja, Benin, Asaba, Lagos Island Road, normal traffic flow restored, Umahi. An APC to hold national convention in March, releases timetable for world, local government, state, zonal congresses, and why Nigeria's banking giants are buying more shares to secure power and profit. Again, page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune has these a story why Nigeria's banking giants are buying more shares to secure power and profit. Just above that, a remaining abducted Niger school student regained freedom. Remaining abducted Niger school student regained freedom. And all right, there is another picture below that of the president in Lagos. That has to do with the chairman is Energy, Tony Elumelu, the president, and chairman of the African Export-Import Bank, Afri-Exim Bank, Dr. George Alombe, during the signing ceremony to mark the execution of $750 million financing transaction between Here's Energy and Afri-Exim Bank on Saturday. All right, so much to talk and read about. That'll be all from the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, the Nation newspaper has this as the major and even only story per se on the Nation newspaper. 130 Niger pupils, teachers rescued. That is on page 7 of the Nation newspaper this morning, and the headline on the Nation.
All right, so much to really look into, but that will be in the course of our conversation for today. We take this quick break. When we return, we speak to the issues. There is a proposed date for the takeoff of the new tax laws, 4 of them in Nigeria. And many Nigerians are wary. Some are apprehensive. Some are, quite excited to say, okay, maybe there will be a new lease of life. And some are even calling for the suspension of the laws because of recent dynamics and development that has to do with alleged discrepancies in the harmonized tax laws between the ones done at the floor of the National Assembly and the gazetted. We'll look into all of this, especially the content, and if actually Nigeria should support it or resist it. That'll be after.